Macca's Reviews.
Hey guys, Macca here. Welcome to my first impressions / informal review of Kinect Sports Rivals, which is the first true Kinect game available on the next-gen Xbox One console. This is the first game that is a true Kinect game and does use complete movement in order to control the games and not just small gestures or voice commands. Now, because of that, it does require a fair bit of space in your living room or regular room for you to use it. It probably requires about 6 to 8 feet of space, similar to the first generation Kinect, which required a fair bit of space. This one works a little bit better in smaller spaces and poor lighted spaces, so that is a plus side, but you will need quite a bit of space in order to actually be able to play this. And keep in mind, I am showing gameplay on screen, and anytime you see any camera footage of me actually playing the game, that is recorded by me personally and then edited on top of the actual gameplay video. Now, you start off the game by creating your own custom character. I thought it did a good job of creating someone that looked somewhat like me, although not identical, but I guess that's up for interpretation. I still did think it did a good job at creating someone that, felt like me in at least a little bit of a way. And after you do that, you will be thrown into a game. Now, the game has 6 total sports, which include wake racing, rock climbing, target shooting, soccer, bowling, and tennis. I believe soccer, bowling, and tennis make a return, whereas wake racing, rock climbing, and target shooting are all new. The story revolves around a rivals-based story. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to be competing to join one of 3 teams that are available in the game that want you to be a part of their team for whatever events they participate in. That's a little bit of the story, and the Rivals also plays into challenging your real-life friends or other people on the leaderboards and challenging them, becoming a rival with them in order to battle for the best score or the best position in a certain event. Also, the game supports purchases in the in-game store, so you'll earn fans and you'll earn credits, and you can take those credits to the store in order to buy things like, upgraded wake racing, jet skis. You can buy upgraded abilities for rock climbing or a better tennis racket, or even an outfit for your tennis player. So all that kind of stuff's available. Now, the actual movement and control feels great in this game. I actually thought they did a great job with the new Kinect in terms of its actual ability to pick people up, pick up fast movements, pick up movements in smaller spaces. I think the new Kinect technology actually works extremely well, and I know a lot of people feel that it wasn't necessary for them to have an Xbox One console with the Kinect bundled in. Even though I think the Kinect has great abilities for like voice commands and stuff, this is a game that really showcases the technology that is available in this device. The controls felt responsive, and additionally inside the game you can also use voice commands to very easily navigate the menus, and I thought that was very seamless and worked extremely well within the game. Also, the game works as a decent exercise tool. I must admit, I was pretty sore after playing this game for a few days. Off and on, and if you've ever played a Kinect Sports game, it does prove to be a great way of entertaining exercise, I guess you could call it. It's kind of like exercising without really knowing you're exercising, and I definitely felt sore in places that I forgot I had muscles, which is always great to be able to do while you are technically gaming. Now, I want to talk a little bit about each sport individually. We'll just go in order of how the game presents them to you. The first sport you'll be playing is wake racing, which makes you use your hand in order to control the throttle and makes you move your arms back and forth in order to control the handlebars. You can also lean in order to make sharper turns, and you can also do tricks while in the air. The next sport you'll be playing is rock climbing, which you just use your arms in order to pull yourself up using the features on the rock climbing wall. You will also be facing opponents, and you can use power-ups in order to kind of give yourself a better advantage. You will also have to jump from wall to wall occasionally and stuff like that, but this one's mostly going to work on your arms. Next up after that is target shooting, probably the least favorable one here in my opinion. This one, you're going to extend out your arm and you're going to shoot targets as they appear on your screen. There are some fun things here like sequence shooting, making sure you shoot the right target at the right time. You can also steal points off your opponent and stuff like that, but definitely probably my least favorite in terms of what this game had to offer. Next up, the one I was definitely looking forward to the most, that was soccer. Unfortunately, also probably the one that I had to fiddle around with my Kinect the most in order to get it to work properly because of how the Kinect recognized my floor in my living space. But once it was adjusted, it did work quite well. You can swing your foot low in order to make low passes. You can swing your foot high to make high passes. You can also shoot the ball whichever way you want, and it is pretty responsive. You can head the ball, and that will also work very, very well. Obviously, this one also has power-ups like all the other games, and you'll also have to save the ball occasionally. Now, I wasn't really a fan of how this game was actually implemented, where you take turns with the AI, just basically taking turns, taking shots on each other. I felt like the previous iterations had a better mechanic where you could block passes and you had to make better passes and stuff like that. But, you know, that's just a part of the game, I guess. Next up was bowling. And bowling was one of those things where I fiddled with. I had played it earlier in the day and had extreme success getting the ball to do exactly what I wanted to do. I came back to the game a few hours later and had a very hard time getting the ball to do exactly what I wanted it to do. For some reason, I don't know if it was where I was standing in my room or if it was the lighting, because the lighting had gotten a lot dimmer in my room since I played before. For whatever reason, I had a really hard time curling the ball and getting it to curve on the actual bowling alley. And I don't know what it was, but it was a little bit frustrating. But I got used to it and kind of played around with that. It is still pretty accurate and does track you pretty well. Last up, the sixth sport, tennis. This one feels pretty good. A little bit dumbed down as well, unfortunately. You can backhand and forehand the ball, which is nice. But unfortunately, the player will do most of the running on his own, and you don't have to move around with your feet too much. And you can also swing your hand up or down in order to a backspin or a topspin. You can smash the ball and lob the ball, which is also helpful. So now that I've briefly tried to talk about all the sports, I want to talk about some of the other stuff available in the game. And one of those things is definitely the audio and the music. The music is very pop radio type of music, but it does fit the game very well. I thought it was a good choice of music, most definitely for this game. And, you know, that's all of the music, including the music in the menu, the loading screens, and all of that. I thought it was well chosen. Also, this game does support Xbox Live, so you can play any of those sports that I have mentioned already via Xbox Live. And you can also do things like access leaderboards and send out challenges to other friends, which is always nice to have for those who are looking to do that. Now, this game works incredibly well at entertaining two people at a time that are in the same spot. So if you have any friends who come over and you do enjoy playing Kinect games, those features are available here, and they do work very well. You don't need a whole lot of space extra in order to support two players. And it's definitely a blast to have that option in there, and definitely one of the ways in which this game shines. Now, unfortunately, there are two things that I want to talk about that really did kind of disappoint me, and that was, one of them was the fact that the loading screens are quite long. You know, that's just part of the game. There's nothing you can really do that's not really a design choice, but it's unfortunate the loading screens did take that long. There were points where I was able to completely leave my room, get a glass of water, drink that water, you know, wash it out in my sink, and I'd come back and the game was still loading. It sometimes took over a minute, which seems like a really long time to just be standing there and waiting. Now, another thing that really disappointed me was what seemed to be the complete disappearance of minigames. In previous Kinect Sports games, minigames were one of the key features in my opinion, and one of the features that I definitely liked playing the most and revisiting. One of the most addicting parts of the game, definitely one of the most challenging parts of the game, and also frustrating, but in a good way. I really liked the minigames in previous versions, and for whatever reason they're not available in here, and it's very evident, and to me it just lacks that little bit of extra content that I would like to see in a game like this via minigames. Now, this review has taken quite a bit of time to kind of get to the overall recommendation, but I want to talk to you guys about whether or not I recommend this game and whether or not it's right for you or if you should pick it up. Now, that's quite a tough question for me to answer, but it really depends on the individual. If you are looking for a Kinect experience on your next-gen Xbox One console, this game does quite a good job at using that technology and really letting you experience what it has to offer, and even with small subtleties like opening and closing your hands. The game is extremely responsive, feels good like I had mentioned previously. However, not all people on the Xbox One are looking for a Kinect game at the moment, and those people probably won't necessarily need to pick this game up, as it doesn't do anything spectacular enough to convince them otherwise. So my overall recommendation is that if you are looking for a Kinect game, or if you have people who come over to your house to play Xbox on a regular basis who might enjoy something like this as opposed to the Wii, I would recommend it for you. However, if you're a regular gamer and you know, space isn't something you have an abundance of near your Xbox, I don't think this is something you would probably go out of the way for. So that's just my opinion. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and as always, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. I'm a little bit under the weather, extremely tired, and hopefully this review did come out all right. As always, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.